Charles Eliot, a renowned American academic, once said, "Books are the quietest and most constant of friends. They are the most accessible and wisest of counselors." Reading remains a great source of acquiring knowledge. It also helps us relieve stress and also sharpens our analytical skills. Libraries are reservoirs of books and other reading materials. As portals to knowledge and information, libraries play an invaluable role in the society. Resources and services offered by libraries provide opportunities for learning, research, and promote cultural expression and heritage. Established in 1910, the Joint National Museums of Kenya and the East Africa Natural History Society Library is the best natural history libraries in Africa south of Sahara. This library boasts over 24,000 books, 40,000 reprints, and 1,700 journal titles, yet it is not well known to the public. In this show, we will know more about the East Africa Natural History Society and National Museums of Kenya Joint Library and what it has to offer to the public. Stay tuned to this amazing Nature Matters episode. Today, our guest is Vivian Nandoka, the Resource Center Manager at the Joint Library of the East Africa Natural History Society and National Museums of Kenya. Welcome to the show, Vivian.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having the world of information on your show.
Oh, great. To begin with, tell us a bit about the Joint Library. How did it all start?
Yes, that word joint is very interesting. And in 1910, when the East African Natural History Society was formed, the founders knew and saw the importance of the role of information. So they created a library. And that is how it began. But in the year around the 1930s, 1939, I believe, the East African Natural History Society handed over the library to the National Museums of Kenya. So though it's more popularly known as being the library for the National Museums of Kenya, is actually for both Nature Kenya, that is the new name that the East African Natural History Society is known by, and also for the National Museums of Kenya. Now, the objectives of this library are to collect, organize, disseminate, and to improve access to information. So those are very important objectives, and we can talk more about them. And also very important to know who can use the library. Not only the staff members. If you're a staff member of the National Museums of Kenya or Nature Kenya, you are free to come and use the library at any time and borrow books according to some certain guidelines. But also, if you're a member of Nature Kenya, any member of the public that registers as a member of Nature Kenya, they are allowed to come and use the library, and there are other guidelines related to what they can borrow, for how long, and so on. And if you're a member of the public and you're not a member of Nature Kenya, you can also come and use this library. It's very rich in the fields of natural history, anthropology, archaeology, paleontology. Those are big words, but just to do with the history of mankind. The history of mankind, their development is all available in this library. You may be a student, just a member of the public who wants to know more about the environment. We also have a lot of information on biodiversity conservation. And you're welcome to come. We have a daily fee rate. So you can come, and we have so much information, a lot that you'd be surprised to learn about. So everybody's welcome to come and use.
Thank you, Vivian, for the introduction. Advances in information communication technology have brought about a great shift in the way we access information. Books and other reference materials are now available digitally. And people need not to go to physical libraries to access knowledge. Are physical libraries still relevant?
That's a very good question. It is true that we have moved from hard copy information more to digital information. But remember, one of the things that the libraries do is to preserve information. First of all, not all information is digital. A lot of information is still being produced in hard copy format. And there's no human being that will ever have enough money to buy all the information that they need, but libraries do have more resources to purchase information. Then there are also copyright issues. Not all information is available freely on the internet. Talking about information that's available on the internet, for example, it is true that right now you can access a lot of information. You can use any popular search engine and get quite a bit of information. But we must remember there's something called the deep web. According to statistics, right now there is just about 19 terabytes of information on the open web. So what you'll do, carry out an information search using an information search engine, but you'll only get 19 terabytes of information. Let me do a different comparison. The deep web has got 500 more information that is 500 times more than you will find on what we call the open web. But as information professionals, we know how to get you that information. We have what we call interlibrary cooperation. There are also a lot of global initiatives that work with libraries. They'll not work with you, they will most likely not work with you as an individual, but they'll work with us as libraries in order to provide us access to information. And sometimes also and in spite of even these international initiatives where there's a lot of information available, we still do have cases of researchers within the museums of Kenya whereby they have done search even on those open platforms, and then they need a very critical article which is not even available there. And one article can cost as much as 100 euros, which in Kenyan shillings is 10,000 Kenyan shillings. That's very expensive for me and you. So physical libraries for the foreseeable future are still very relevant because we are like gatekeepers to information. And our role is changing. We have actually been very adaptable over time. Long time ago, information used to be written on stone tablets. Then we had those big scrolls and so on. Then we had the books and the journals that you can see around us. But right now, a lot of that information is available digitally, and we have access to it. We know we are the gatekeepers, and we'll help you get the information that you need. And we need a physical place to operate from.
Quite a very strong case for the existence of physical libraries. I'm sure libraries are also evolving in terms of operations and services. So how is this joint library adapting to technological changes?
Yes, very important with all the technological changes happening. We have been using for quite a long time a software in the library that enables local area access, meaning that when in the library, you're able to know, seated at a computer, you're able to know the information we have in the library. But we now want to move on with the technological developments, and we're now moving to a software that will enable you to be able to know what we have inside our library from anywhere in the world. You'll be able to know what we have, you don't have to come here. We're also in the process of buying more modern computers that will allow better access. The older computers are not as versatile, but we have begun the process of moving on to better technology. Now, another way we're also using technology. For example, we have something called the Current Awareness Service, and right now what we're doing is sharing it to staff members both at Nature Kenya and the National Museums through email. But as we develop a better website with better software, we will put that service onto the internet, and with appropriate entry points or restrictions, staff members and even members who are registered, Nature Kenya members, will be able to use that. That is an important service because we keep on alerting our clientele to new issues that are emerging that they need to be aware about, and also what is happening with issues they've been following. So, and we'd also like to be able to use social media, develop a handle for Twitter, probably even write blogs, use social media with all its very different platforms in order to bring more people. Snapchat that the young people like to use, we want to use that as we move to better software for the library.
The emergence of COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 ushered in a new world order, literally. Talk of restrictions of movements and gatherings, closure of public facilities, and calls for people to work from home. How did this affect the joint library operations?
You're very right. It really affected the library. First of all, a recent look at the statistics of users between March and December showed that we had fallen down to almost just 10% of the normal number of users that we had in previous years. But one good and very surprising thing, our electronic resources were very well used. And that was because people were able to use the login usernames and passwords from wherever they were and use them. But one of the things I would like to do is encourage people not to be too afraid of coming to use our physical resources. We are taking into account the guidelines, first of all, that are being given by the Kenya government, and then there's also an international project known as the reopening of archives, libraries, and museums, where they're giving guidelines. Ongoing research is being done, and we're given guidelines that of for how long the virus can survive on material. So, for example, when a user comes into the library, one of the things we do is we make sure that they have sanitized their hands additionally. They keep on their masks, we keep the windows open, and then when they have used the resources in the library, we actually take them and quarantine them according to the recommended procedures. So information is still available to be used. Don't be too worried. As much as you take precautions, we're also taking additional precautions to keep you safe, but also for you to continue using information. So come and use it. We are here to serve you. Our opening times for additional information, we open from Monday to Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. So you're welcome to come and use the physical library when you are around.
So, moving forward as a library, what lessons have you learned from the COVID-19 pandemic?
The pandemic has actually been good in one sense. It was a really good reminder that we need to adapt, move on from the traditional mode of providing information, whereby we need everybody to come physical, to move on more to the electronic. And as I mentioned, we're trying to already go into new software, more new computers and so on. And then it was also a very good reminder that change is inevitable. Physical books and journals may be less referred to. We need to actually start purchasing more of electronic journals, electronic books, and making them access to our users. And also a good reminder, the traditional role of libraries changes to one that it needs to change, not just digital. We need to now, for example, become places whereby researchers can come, sit down, have discussion groups, yes, come and also do their research here. As you do carry out research, one of the very important things you need to do is carry out literature research, background research. You might not be able to do it at home, maybe due to the, various reasons. We have free internet access here for all our users. So we encourage researchers to come, sit down here in a quiet place where they can be focused, either as an individual, maybe as a discussion group, and do their research here, develop whatever work they're doing. One of the concerns we have as keepers or gatekeepers to information is that there is very little published research coming from Africa. There are various reasons for that, but one of the reasons is researchers don't have good access to information. So we want to encourage Nature Kenya members, staff members, other members of the society to come so that we can help you get access to that information. As I said, using a free search engine, you'll only get less than 500% of what is available, but we are able to help you get that information. So it has taught us that we need to let people know more about the digital information that's available through us. You may look at this library and think it is has a lot of books. We have over 20,000 books, which is quite a lot by African standards, and over 1,700 journals. But what we have access to through initiatives like Research for Life, we have over 20,000 journals and books, so much more, over 200,000. So when you come to the library, we will show you how to use that information and how to access it. That is what we're here for. So come and use us. And if you're worried about coming physically, you can also send us an email. We are available by a very simple email, library@museums.or.ke. Send us an email and we will see how we can help you access both the physical information and the digital information so that you're able to do the work that you need to do.
So, apart from reading, what other services does the Joint Library offer?
You can also come to the library and we have binding services, for example, interlibrary loans. In other words, if we don't have the resource you need here, we'll borrow it for you. We also have printing services at a cost. Those are the services, and I previously mentioned we have the current awareness service, but that's more of a digital service. Then another very important thing that us gatekeepers to information are very good at is offering you a reference service. We are able to take you through literature searches. You may have gotten to a certain point and you find it difficult to continue. We're then able to offer that to you. And you can also borrow our books for a certain duration. So those are some additional services other than just coming to read that we can offer to you.
So where do you see the library being, say, in the next 50 or so years to come?
I believe in the next 50 years to come, as long as this building is standing here, the Heritage Center, I believe the library will still be here, but there will be differences. There will be more of electronic access to information than physical access. I believe we will be growing our electronic collection more, or maybe, in fact, that's where we're going to be. But our physical collection will be stagnant, and if it will be growing, it will be growing at a very slow pace. So 50 years from now, I believe, because information is power. But we must always remember that even if it's power, unless you use it, you will not be benefiting from that power. So I believe the institution the library will still be here. It was created in 1990, so we're over 100 years old. Yes, we're over 100 years old. So I believe it will still be here, but the information will be more digital, yes, than it is right now.
It has been a pleasure talking to you, Vivian. But before I let you go, kindly tell us how one can access the joint library.
It's very easy to access the joint library. It's close to the Central Business District on Kipande Road. As you come to the museum for any other activity, come and visit us. And I would like to also say that children can even come and use the library. We are trying to develop the next generation of conservationists, archaeologists, paleontologists, all that. So we have developed a children's corner whereby we have very simple books within these areas that they can actually have a look at. And not just these scientific books, we also have a few general knowledge books so that they can build their reading culture. And also, if you're physically challenged, the library has actually been built in order to be able to, wheelchairs can come in. So even people on wheelchairs can come in. So come to Kimpande Road, come to the Heritage Center, which is behind the gallery, and come and visit us. Make use of the library from Monday to Friday, as I said, 8:30 to 4 p.m. We're here to serve you.
Thank you, Vivian, for the insightful discussion. That was really fantastic. We have come to the end of yet another episode. I hope you have learned one or two things about the joint library. As usual, we encourage feedback from our viewers, so drop a comment below, give us a like, and remember to subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell to get the latest of our episodes. Stay safe and see you next time.